Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Solo ReacTalk. This morning, it's going to be MandaloreGaming, and I'm going to be reacting to a Amnesia, a Machine for Pigs review requested by Alpha Shocker, made on the MandaloreGaming YouTube channel. If you guys want to check out the original video as well as MandaloreGaming's YouTube channel, the links are going to be in the description below. If you want to check out my previous reaction to other game reviews made by MandaloreGaming, remember that the reaction playlist card is going to be at the top right here. Yes, I've just reacted to Amnesia, the Dark Descent review, and I'm going to conclude my double hitter from MandaloreGaming with Amnesia, a Machine for Pigs review. Yes, pigs. It's going to be interesting, I think. Let's start. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. You know, the only game that I know with pigs is, I think it's Duke. Yeah, Duke Nukem. And he's busy fighting against pigs from a different dimension, I think. Yeah. Pigs that are abducting women, and, you know, Duke Nukem is killing them. That's the only game I know where pigs are prevalent.
After Amnesia the Dark Descent's gothic, Lovecraftian castle in Prussia, setting it in London was seen as the only way to top the horror. But this sequel wasn't being developed by Frictional, it was being developed by the Chinese Room.
The Chinese Room? Okay.
They had created some mods, but at this point were mainly known for their single game, Dear Esther. If you don't know it, it wasn't the first of its kind, but it is the game that people invented the term walking simulator for. It's a mainly linear game where you just walk around an island and get a narrative delivered to you. So from the outside, them doing the Amnesia sequel seemed kind of weird. Detractors said the Dark Descent barely had gameplay anyways, which isn't true. But there was a sentiment of, hey, at least the graphics will probably be great. Well, some predictions were way more correct than others. And after I played this one, I played no Amnesia titles after it. So coming back has been interesting for me.
Okay, was it that good, or you just got tired?
Because I did find more to appreciate, and I found more recognizable reasons why the game is scuffed. But I'll take it from the top before getting into all of that. A great starting example is the main menu. Dark Descent just had ambient, low-pitched droning. It's an ominous, prepare to be scared sound. Machine for Pigs starts with the exact same sound, but then it moves into something more grand.
It sounds like something I would hear from a TV show like The Outer Limits. Yeah. Yeah. The music soundtrack, it sounds similar to what I would hear from The Outer Limits, or maybe Andromeda Ascendant as well. Yeah, from those like early 90s or late 90s TV shows. Yeah. Sci-fi TV shows.
The theme itself is saying this will be bigger in scope. What is the machine and what is it for? It doesn't work great for me because it reminds me of Alien Resurrection.
Yeah, I hear it too.
But don't get me wrong, that is a fun movie near and dear to me, but it's still the most immediate.
Would you close your mouth? Oh my gosh, these people, they're just waiting for these, what are they called again? Face huggers to get to them. Ugh.
Tone shift. As for the intro itself, there's a quote about how making a beast of oneself removes the pain of being human. I hope you're ready for lots of pig metaphors because, holy shit. We open with some kind of machine activating, but it's so obscured in red fog that it almost looks like a graphical bug is happening. It gets better when the room is properly illuminated, but what this machine is...
Wait, is that someone on a throne?
Could have just been a nightmare. You've awakened inside of your...
You guys saw that, right? Wait, let's go back a bit, sorry.
Shit. We open with some kind of machine activating, but it's so obscured in red fog that it almost looks like a graphical bug is happening. It gets better.
There! Is that a throne? Is that someone sitting on a throne? Or maybe it's just the conduits. Okay.
When the room is properly illuminated, but what this machine is could have just been a nightmare. You've awakened inside of your caged bed just in time for the title drop.
Let me guess, you also took an amnesia potion. Whoever you are, you must have taken an amnesia potion and you've written yourself, what you should do in the future, your future self. Yeah.
Like Penumbra and Amnesia before it, it's a first-person game with plenty of interactable... Oh. There's
Oh, you can't touch anything. None of the objects can be, picked up.
actually precious few things that you can interact with this round. I'm gonna have more to say on this in a little bit. You play as Oswald Mandus, the head of a meatpacking company in 1899. He's had feverish...
Oswald Mendes. Mendes. A meat packaging company. Okay.
nightmares of the machine and sometimes a man in a fursuit, but now his children are missing. It'll be tricky to find them because Mandus's estate is large, but also bizarre.
And just like in Dark Descent, like there's so many candle lights here. There's even electricity. There's, bulbs, fluorescent bulbs. And you're telling me all of this light can't, light up the room? What's going on? Anyways.
Lavish, but to the point where the number of paintings on display is excessive even for then. And the subject matter can be strange or about pigs. But it's definitely the secret passages and caged beds and pervert one-way mirrors that seem the most alarming.
Clearly, Oswald Mandus' company has become very successful because of packaging of pig meat. Yeah, and maybe that's why there's such an obsession with pigs everywhere.
The mansion also has direct access to the Mandus meatpacking factory, so it's possible his twin boys are lost somewhere down there. To make matters worse, while Mandus was sleeping, the machinery was sabotaged, which might have been the sound that gave him the nightmares. This is reported by Mandus's chief engineer, who believes that his children are trapped somewhere down below, along with giving other useful tidbits of information. Moshi Moshi.
Precious eagle cactus fruit. Help us.
What?
Fantastic. On the way to find your twins, you'll be shadowed by pig masks and pursued by pig men. But for a game following up a lot of famous chase scenes, there aren't going to be as many as you think. So that's the quick rundown, but we have to address the graphics. The issue is, the game has some great art direction. Between Mandus's eccentric estate, the dirty streets of London, a strange church, and the impossible size and scope of the machinery.
Man, even the streets of London are very dark, even with the light poles. Wow.
There is fantastic stuff here, but it's a problem when you can't fucking see it 90% of the time. And it goes way beyond just being a gamma game too dark issue. The first game had that right in the title, and there were some areas where your lantern was the only thing guiding you along. But even areas that on paper could be pitch black like a cellar could have some lighting to them. Pitch darkness would still let you see directly in front of you, or give you other help you might not have noticed. Darkness would drain your sanity and warp your vision, and light would help restore that. But light gave you way to monsters more easily. Light wasn't just set dressing, it was a major mechanic that areas were designed around. Rooms were lit to set a tone, so they still had to account for danger. How hard will it be to sneak through an area unspotted, but also, how hard will it be for the player to see the monster? The truth is, Amnesia was submarine warfare. You can see farther at the cost from being spotted from farther. So when an area was well lit, that wasn't necessarily welcome because you had less places to hide. And the same went for the very open areas, so Amnesia liked to combine both. In Machine for Pigs, you have a light with unlimited power. You don't have
What?
fuel or oil, you don't have an inventory, and there is no sanity system at all.
Then that just kills the urgency to finish the game. It kills it. Because you're no longer, panicking or being frustrated or stressed to find resources to maintain your sources of light. You can just stay in the dark for as long as you want. You can explore this place without any worry. Even if you do find these creatures that are chasing after you, you don't really have any urgency to run as far as possible or take cover into some different locations because your sources of light are infinite. So if that is the case, what is going to make you feel as if you need to hurry? You need to find your kids as fast as possible. You need to make sure that these creatures don't attack you or don't attack your children. Like, there isn't added oomph or added incentive for you to do this as fast as possible. And that's what was given in the Dark Descent review, or not review, but the Dark Descent game. Sorry, you had limited time with the lantern, you had limited time with the tinder boxes, and you had to use them sparingly. You had to use them strategically, and you had to keep moving forward as much as possible. But in this game, if these vital components are infinite, then really you've just cut any notion of urgency in this game. Yeah.
People have already criticized this for, dumbing down the mechanics, and there's a lot to that too. But I think people have missed just how much this approach torpedoed the look of the game. Because the Dark Descent's fantastic lighting was made with your limitations in mind. Someone can run out of light, so they should be able to still navigate around and complete challenges. It might be awful, but it's doable. With that in mind, here's what Machine for Pigs does when it takes that away. This room is dark. This room is dark. This room is dark. What do you mean you can't see? Just pull out your light. It might look murky and compressed and horrible like you're playing the game through OnLive in 2007, but you can always see in front of you, kind of. But get this, the first game had all kinds of insanity vision effects, and that is still more clear than just walking around in Machine for Pigs. The game constantly has this horrible tinted fog to it, which is incredibly visible even in small spaces. Where once
Kind of looks like dust. Just like in Dark Descent with the castle, a lot of dust in the air.
you could look way down a long hallway, now the draw distance is unbelievably bad. Reminds me of Morrowind, except it actually is worse here. It's like the fog and tinting is the only real light, and the actual light bulbs you see barely emit anything at all. And not every light source is like this, even if the room is still murky. But when I go through settings and look at Let's Plays and look at the console version to make sure something's not broken, that's not a great sign. It's not just exploring around either, because it makes the set pieces boring as hell too. You find a strange chemical centrifuge and it's sitting in darkness. Turn on your light and there it is. Areas that could have dramatic lighting either don't bother at all, or they attempt it and it's drowned out by the other effects.
And when you remember from Dark Descent with the glass, how the moonlight would shine through, and that would be a source of light that would give you safety and security for the time being. That was a beautiful addition, especially in those safe areas, if I can say it like that, but unfortunately it seems like in this game they haven't really focused on that as well, where you would have safe havens where you would be able to rest, recuperate, formulate your plans and then continue further into the different locations. But it seems like in this game you don't have any of that. Is it because the lantern is now infinite in terms of energy source?
And no, this round I don't think it's supposed to look bad as some kind of art piece. If you hack out the fog, you can see a lot of assets loading in, so it might have been optimization gone wrong. At least in some cases, because so much more of it would have to be by design. A light barely affecting the environment is one thing, but an area having none at all, like even fixtures, is another entirely.
What was that, a mask?
It really sucks because there are moments where that works in the game's favor. When you're deep into a near pitch black factory and can only catch glimpses of the machinery with your light, it's a striking image that does feel like something from a nightmare. But it doesn't stand out as much as it could because the rest of the game isn't too far off. And the final killing blow is what they did to your lantern.
I'm over here stroking my dick. I got lotion on my...
So I won't explain too far ahead, but for lore reasons, the man-pigs affect electricity. Which means a fixture flickering could just be a malfunction, or a human is around and a little piggy is coming to murk it. Which means...
So the light starts to flicker when these pigs are in close proximity to you? You don't get the music? Like in Dark Descent, like you'd hear the rising siren music. You don't get that. Now you're just alerted by the flickering of the lantern. That's strange, but yeah, I don't know. I don't like that. They should have stuck with what was been done in Dark Descent. Yeah.
If a man pig is around, your lantern starts flickering. It has unlimited fuel, so there's no chance of it actually going out, so what they've done is given you a spooky detector. The best scare with it is early on because it's a narrow staircase with no way around it. It's a scripted scare, but they put thought into framing it. But out in the wild, it only means your light flickers if something scary is nearby, even if you're not looking directly at it. This kind of thing could work for tension in the right circumstances, but again, it's machined for pigs. And the mechanical streamlining extends into how easily detected you are. For now, let's just say these hogs aren't going to find truffles anytime soon. It ruins what could be great sequences too, like going through a dark area but you're not sure how close the man pig is, and then your lantern starts flickering. And you can't have a moment where you lose your light dynamically based on how you played. Putting together long stretches of murky darkness and then flickering lights when something scary happens makes the horror feel cheaper in a way that the first game did not. I mean, it's basically the SpongeBob Nosferatu bit. And it's not all like this, there are moments that are fantastic. Like exploring an office and suddenly getting a glimpse of something inhuman driving past you, which gives you a nice uncertain did I see that correctly moment instead of a flashlight confirming it. There's a part where some machinery violently shifts and you see a man pig run by. The lights flicker here, so you only see it for a bit through some machinery, but the sound is so loud that you don't know where it ran off to. That sound gives it uncertainty, and that's what gives you tension. Stripping out elements that you had to manage makes you more certain and less scared. Machine for Pigs exchanged a lot of the moment-to-moment tension in exchange for something else. It's relying more on its writing and concepts, which are strong, along with having set-piece sequences or scary things you can stare at as long as you want.
It's just not the same anymore. It's just not the same.
You can have all of those things with a tense game, and they've lost a lot of that. The game's sound is in another interesting area like that. The ambient audio and sound effects are still pretty incredible. Of all the elements that neuter the tension, sound is not one of them. The background audio is so rich with a lot of depth and layers to it, and when they do go to turn it up, they turn it up hard.
Okay, alright, that's promising. The gameplay not so much, but the music, yeah. Sound bites, yeah.
The actual sound design might be even better than before, it can just be harder to appreciate because it's not used as effectively. When you're hearing pig-human hybrids crashing through the factory, knocking God knows what over, those can be the actual tensest moments in the game, even when the danger has never been farther. It's such a huge missed up.
Sorry guys, my audio voice input was switched off. I was talking about the pigs, the fact that they're walking away from Oswald instead of attacking him or chasing him down. Yeah, that's what I was talking about here.
Opportunity for this kind of work. There's not a lot of background music during the game, and it's not used like The Dark Descent either, but the ones that do play during cutscenes and set pieces are very good. They are attached to some big story moments too, so I can't show them just yet. But the larger scale that the title screen hinted at is definitely delivered on. As for the
sorry guys, I did it again. I switched off the voice input. I was talking about the soundtrack reminding me of Pro Blood, created by CV11. He also has some introductory music that's quite similar to what I'm hearing here. Yeah.
voice acting, it's excellent, which is fantastic when the game's cast is this small. The delivery is always perfectly as cruel or maniacal or as dismissive as it needs to be. There may not be that many characters, but there's not a moment where a line falls flat. Except for the kids, but luckily they don't have that much.
Come and see, Papa. We found an egg. A stone egg.
And that's not horrible.
You seem to have undergone quite a profound conversion in Mexico, Mr. Mandel.
You could not have seen it yourself and not, Professor. As we disembarked, even through my fever, I saw the detritus of this so-called progress. I saw starvation and disease, rot and destruction polluting the waters of the Empire. We are ruiners, you and I, and all of us, and we make the world unclean.
Is it Oswald who's talking?
I have such visions to share with thee. If my jaw be unshackled and you harvest the crust from my eyes.
My one complaint here is that the
Harvest the crust from my eyes.
Audio mixing can be very inconsistent. Background noise can drown out lines, and when Mandus is speaking, he sounds too quiet and far away.
Beast! Creature! Where are my children? Where are my children?
And that's a problem when you can't adjust sound levels at all. So presentation-wise, it all comes together to be a weird mix of stuff. The visuals are usually murky and awful, but sometimes you see something striking. There's incredible sound design, but the game rarely takes advantage of it. The horror can be existential and high concept, but they also want to flicker the lights and make the room scary. They try to go for pig mask jump scares.
Really? Man, pigs are on his mind. Seriously, pigs are on this man's mind. And now his entire factory is also filled with these human hybrid pig creatures. Okay, so he's fighting against these pigs. Well, not really fighting. And he's trying to look for his children, who are also trapped in this factory with these pigs. Wow. That was a mask, wasn't it? Yeah.
I honestly don't know what to say to that. Having the masks follow you around, sometimes subtly appearing and disappearing, is one thing, but genuinely attempting jump scares with them comes across as desperate. So now's a perfect time to get into the mechanics, or really, the lack of them. I think what bothers me most about the gameplay is it's exactly what people will say The Dark Descent is if they haven't played it. I've already talked about how removing limited light and fuel has utterly changed the look and feel of the game, but there's more to it than that. Because you've got no inventory, and so no healing potions, if you take damage, you regenerate it right back.
Like you're in a Call of Duty game. Okay.
Even dying is difficult to achieve as big holes have guardrails everywhere, and even the monsters don't usually kill you, they just knock you out. And the monster encounters barely—
They just knock you out and then what? Okay.
barely account for anything. Where the chases in previous games could cross all kinds of rooms and hallways, the ones here can be unbelievably small and closed off. And even having that, their AI seems dumber and has more limited senses. In the areas where you're supposed to sneak around, I had to go out of my way to be chased by them. I'll show you how dire it is, but I must warn you, this clip will contain pigs, so I
okay. Mandalore.
hope you're ready. If I didn't stand—
I don't know why, but it's just not scary. It's a pig.
directly in front of him and stay there, he would not fucking chase me. I thought the whole thing with pigs was that they were kind of smart.
Even the way it runs towards you, it's not scary. It's just... No.
He chases me a few steps, but I can easily outrun him, so I have to stand there for him to kill me. With that advantage, it still takes him multiple hits to drop me down. Okay, there, he finally killed me. Except he didn't kill me, he knocked me out and put me in this pig cage. I can actually see him walking away, so let me go try to get murdered again. Except no I can't, because he's actively running away from me. Come back.
Like, what's going on? Like I stated before, whenever you'd see the pigs, they would be walking away from Oswald. They wouldn't be chasing after Oswald. Yeah, that is just strange. It's not really scary.
You greasy fuck. See, what happened is I left his special chase zone, which is about 10 feet across. And I have to chase him all the way back before he goes after me again. And it's not like I was boundary breaking or something crazy, this is where the game put me. They knew exactly where I would be, but did not count on me getting right back out. Because what they hoped for was that you would come into this room, see the pig, and go, ah, and then run out the door over here. With how cramped the room is and the calendar length time to kill, you practically have to try to die, and if you're someone who doesn't and does die, they're going to have the monster go right back to where he was. It's either assuming that any player who dies there won't be able to handle a chase, or it was never taken into account that that person would run right back out.
Is there a hard mode for this game? Like Dark Descent? Maybe in the hard mode it's much more difficult and, the pigs are far more dangerous. I don't know.
Man-Pig is well animated and scary, but he's the illusion.
No, not really. Honestly, they're not scary. I think maybe the squealing has just killed the fear I have for them. Yeah, I don't know. From a distance, if you do hear the pig squealing like that, maybe it would induce some sort of fear. But up close, hearing them go, nah, it just doesn't. It doesn't work anymore. It doesn't. I'm just seeing bacon. Honestly, I'm just seeing bacon.
Illusion of any real threat here. Speaking of which, there's another section where you're trapped in a hallway with one that dashes at you, and it just vanishes. This could happen in the first game if your sanity was low enough, but it would only be for about half a second, and it was dynamic. But get this, if you don't just stand there and run away, the door will automatically slam behind you and it pounds on it like you just escaped in time. How about this part? It looks like if you don't finish this task in time, the pigs will make you go wee 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 all the way home. You even get a journal entry that says, "I must escape." And we know these monsters can break down doors. Right? Let's spend big and call that bet.
You're telling me the zombies from Dr. Sent are far more stronger than you pigs? They can bring down doors, you guys can't. Oh, wow.
I guess.
Yeah, now you're just squealing out of frustration.
Guess not. To give a final example, the water monster. It is fairly famous, but I didn't mention it in the previous video. I figure that even if people watch through spoilers and all that, there should be things in the game that still surprise them that I don't bring up. Well, now's the time to address the water monster. It's some kind of creature from the mysterious dimension that Alexander comes from. You avoid it by platforming and throwing things to distract it, particularly human limbs. You can even throw a few in the water so it has a stupid mukbang as you make your escape. You never learn much more about it beyond it being a vicious, feral creature, and you need to be quick, careful, and have good timing to escape it. Machine for Pigs introduces it with the exact same musical sting, but it's a little more electrical this time. It only blocks your way until you drain it out, but at one point you do fall into the water with it. And I know sometimes people will say a linear section can feel like it's on rails, but this is almost literally on rails. It feels like I wanted to go bowling and someone put up the bumper guards. So even though it guides me right to the exit, let me be a human houseplant and sit here and die. Except I don't, it puts me right at the exit. If I crawl down to die again, it puts me in an area right by this.
Is there a need for auto-saving or for saving the game if this is possible? Huh.
Aren't they supposed to be ravenous carnivores? Well, they're not those. Instead, according to the notes, they're invisible pigs caught between two worlds. Because everything in this game is a goddamn pig. The creature helps you progress, or detains you. And yeah, in the first game sometimes monsters would disappear after some deaths, but you could still lose tangible progress, it didn't Disney fast pass you ahead, and there's a hard mode option where that doesn't happen. This is just silly.
What I received I am a bit disappointed with because it's a contradiction to what I have been seeing it being portrayed as versus what I actually got.
What?
The fact there are barely any interactable objects makes more sense now. You don't ever need to throw anything to fight back, there's no furniture to hide inside, and the few things you do pilfer through are purely for finding more story notes. Or, on very rare occasion, something strange like the teeth drawer. So if
Are those Oswald's teeth?
if you have less to interact with, no inventory, and less tension from the monsters, where does that put the puzzles? Well, it mainly means carrying items around, but luckily not too far, as the puzzles are now nearly pointless. Oh, a switch is stuck. Go down the ladder, fix the hatch, and now the switch works. The problem solving is the simplest it's ever been, without the pressure of a monster shambling into the room while you do it.
Now I'm wondering, the game developers for A Machine for Pigs, did they actually play the Dr. Sent? Because, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like they really played it and took whatever made that game as successful as it was and incorporating it into A Machine for Pigs. They just didn't do that.
There are 2 or 3 that are okay, but they lack that tension. What gets to me beyond the game being so streamlined down is that it's basically wearing the skin of a better one. It says Amnesia, so people are going to expect monster encounters, and they're going to expect puzzles. The elements are there, but rarely have consequence. The easiest, most simple tasks will give you a journal entry for hints, but sometimes that same pop-up is giving you more story and insight. So the solution could be obvious, but you're always compelled to check the journal anyway. Mandus constantly writes down what he has to do in the same section where he reveals more about what's happening, which the Dark Descent separated out so much better. If you are
Yeah, clearly they did not play the game. I mean, even the smallest, most convenient, user interface information organization is not being replicated from the Doctor Sent. It's not being brought into this game, and now it's a jumbled mess. Definitely, it's a very much of a watered down gaming experience compared to the Doctor Sent. I don't know why did they take this path, but I think it was a mistake.
Stuck, there's an entirely separate memento section just for hints and objectives. You don't have to check every entry because I must discover the fate of my children is not intertwined with I must pull this lever. It's like every gameplay element was made out of begrudging obligation, and if you somehow fail, they want you to move right past it to see their story. It feels like you're outright not trusted to play the video game, which makes sense from the creators of Dear Esther, but not from the creators of Penumbra called Frictional Games.
So clearly they're holding your hand as you play this game, unlike in Doctor Sent. No one's holding your hand there. No one is holding your hand there. You are an adult. You have to make it out of that place alive. In this game, they're holding your hand. They're giving you infinite resources. And even the creatures that are supposed to be terrifying and they're supposed to be killing you are not doing that job. So what's really scary here?
By definition, friction is rough. It resists you. You know what friction also makes? Heat. It might also make sparks. And if you don't have heat, you're not gonna cook. That means the pork that Machine for Pigs brought to my dinner party is cold-cut Oscar Mayer. And that pork is made with chicken. This is chicken gameplay. All these years, and I finally stooped to a food analogy.
That's clever. That's clever, MandaloreGaming. Chicken polony.
That's how bad it is out here. It stripped out so much agency and uncertainty and everything that makes horror games great. I assume they did it so more people would experience it and see the story, where the story is complicated, with interesting themes and writing, and still a little bit of chicken in there.
That's a bit, unfortunate, and it limits the game. When you want to adhere to a large populace of the gaming community to play this game, and not narrowing it down to the people who actually enjoy this type of game, you create problems. Because if you create this game for everybody, then everybody's not going to like it. I certainly don't like what I'm seeing, and I don't play these types of games, but I'm more impressed with the Dark Descent compared to what I'm seeing here with this one. Yeah.
But you need to be paying close attention, explore to find notes to give more nuance to it, read every pop-up, and then examine the notes, ideally after you play. Because there's a good chance you could go through the first time and still not fully understand what the hell happened. If you did, then you know there are still parts that are ambiguously real or don't have clear explanations. It gets praised for being a smart story with a lot of angles to it, and I would agree there. But I do have issues with how the story was told. Plus, in the end, it's the only thing really interesting about the game. Imagine the same story with Dark Descent gameplay or an expanded version. It could have been something spectacular, but this is what we got. I'll talk more about that in detail, so if you don't want spoilers, go to here.
I'm here to stay. Oh, is this another pig game? Oh.
Boys will be happy to see these pictures.
No, that's not right.
That reminds me of Samurai Jack. Oh my gosh. Which episode? I think it was season 2 of Samurai Jack. The Scotsman with Samurai Jack. You know, they were being chased after by a band of bounty hunters led by a pig general who was in a tank, and he was busy shouting out the commands, but bang 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 bang. Sorry guys, it seems that I pressed the mute button for the audio, or should I say for my voice audio. So in this section, and I think 2 more sections, you won't be hearing my voice. So I'll just have to talk over. And yeah, I was just talking about the Samurai Jack episode in season 2, how funny it was. Yeah, basically that's what I was saying here.
When it comes to this story, you get most of the background details out of order, so I'm going to go over some things in a more linear context before getting into it. About a decade before the beginning of the game, Mandus' wife died giving birth to their twins. Before she passed away, he vowed he would always take care of them. Unfortunately, the next few years...
I thought this bedroom was for the kids, like a caged bedroom, but it was not for them.
...weren't kind to Mandus, and especially his company, which had been established for generations. Mandus was trying to modernize his business with brand new machinery, but overextended, to the point that he couldn't get a loan and the bank, those swine, might be coming to repossess his house. Naturally, he ponders about killing them all, and does it in writing. Mandus comes across as eccentric even before the death of his wife. He already had secret passages in his house that...
Okay, here I was talking about the fact that Oswald is a hunter. He has guns. Why doesn't he take his guns and use them against the pigs? You know, I understood that, you know, they wanted to make the game like the Dark Descent, where violence is not an option. You know, you can't fight against these creatures. But it just doesn't work logically when Oswald is a hunter. He hunts animals with guns, and he brandish his weapons, you know, in his house. They're all over the place. So, you know, it just makes logical sense that he would actually take one of his guns and use them against the pigs to defend himself and also to find his children as soon as possible. So, yeah, that's basically what I was talking about in this muted part. Yeah.
He used to watch her bathe, and was possibly the second or third best safari hunter seen on this channel.
MandaloreGaming is genius. Cabela's dangerous hunts. Genius.
Whatever was going on with him, he wasn't shy from adventure. Along with all his paintings and trophies, he also has artifacts in display, so is likely a bit of a treasure hunter too. So through the adventuring grapevine, he heard rumors of an Aztec pyramid deep in the jungles of Mexico. Thinking the treasure within could pay his way out, he took his boys and went on the trip.
Pathway into darkness.
Apparently, this actually worked because when Mandus came back, his luck turned around. He was able to finance and construct amazing new machinery and did so well, the factory had a surplus.
Okay, I think here I was talking about Daniel and Oswald, how they found these orbs that, you know, was kind of like a success, but also a curse for both of them. And yeah, I think that's the connection that the two games had.
Picked up some kind of illness down in Mexico, so would be frequently bedridden, but he was still a huge philanthropist now. Working with the local church, he gave countless meals to the poor, asking nothing for return. A priest notes that he won't even let them work in his factory as the machinery requires specialists and would be dangerous to them, which is damn generous by Victorian England standards. Still, while he had become a hero in society, his old close friends thought there was something off about him. So they hired Professor A to evaluate him, who had apparently also checked out the Jack the Ripper murders, which might have some tie-ins I'll get into. Anyhow, the professor is more impressed over suspicious.
I seem to have picked up something rather nasty in Mexico.
I do understand what you've been through. A lesser man would have crumbled. Yet you have made all of this. Your great factory, your charities. It is a wonder for one man alone.
It will all be made clear, Professor.
As you explore around in the search for your children, the reasons the club was worried become more obvious. Mandus rants to the professor and himself about the sickness he sees in society. While he's publicly a philanthropist and friend of high society, in secret he despises them. Their pretentiousness, their corruption, and he...
Let me guess, he also calls them pigs. You bloody swines.
Has big plans to fix them all. As you go through the factory, large parts of it are just a facade. There are large office spaces that are pristine with no staff and no signs of any work being done at all. The real...
I guess the factory is automated, like almost 100%. And that's why he doesn't want to employ anyone in the factory as well.
Operation of machinery appears to be deeper and deeper underground. Beyond that, symbols from Brennenburg Castle and the Dark Descent begin reappearing. In fact, some of those artifacts that Mandus has also look familiar. A strange symbol on an altar deep in Alexander's chambers is also on a grave in a nearby church courtyard. Mandus mentions how London engineers find tunnels and ancient structures beneath the city, and his architect tells him there's an iron ball at the center of the planet and calls it the egg of the world. This architect is the same engineer that calls up and is someone Mandus met on his expedition in Mexico. He's been helping Mandus design and build the great machinery, but if the surface level is fake, what the hell is it for? And most pressing of all, why is the factory full of man-pigs? Well, during the Mexican vacation, Mandus's kids found something they described as being a stone egg. Apparently, it had some kind of way of speaking to Mandus, and when he got home, he placed it on his mantelpiece, along with burying some shattered skulls in his garden.
Yeah, clearly it's like the orb that Daniel found. Just this one's not cracking into pieces.
With our Dark Descent connections, this egg in a temple was likely another orb, or at least a piece of one. But when Daniel took the orb, he was hunted by the Shadow, so why isn't that happening to Mandus? It's possible that he could be. The pig masks that keep following Mandus around look like they could be decorated in a Central American style, except pigs didn't arrive in the New World until Cortez came to get real busy. So Aztecs weren't seeing pigs until their doom was upon them. It could be something Mandus saw in Mexico, but what's the most telling is the top of the mask has a depiction that looks like the orb. It's right over the brain too, implying that the orb had influence over them instead of hunting them.
Man, the fact that you were able to see that, MandaloreGaming, that's impressive. I would have never thought about that. Yeah, even if I was playing the game countless times, I don't think I would have seen that on the mask. Yeah. And then try to connect it with the rest of the story. Yeah,
It's around a lot, but I don't think it's the Shadow, and even if it is, it's not like the one in the first game. I see it more as a metaphor for Mandus feeling haunted and not hunted. Plus, it's the kind of thing I would expect more from the Dear Esther team. Now, I'm not an expert on Aztecs. I only had a brief Aztec death whistle musical career.
Okay.
So I won't get super in-depth, but there are some threads to pull at, including the first call from the engineer.
Precious eagle cactus fruit.
Aztecs had a colorful view of agriculture. Human hearts were often referred to or depicted as being fruit. For example, take Mictlantecutli, the most prominent god of the dead in the underworld because, of course, the Aztecs had a few of those. He's frequently depicted carrying fruit representing a human heart. Or, check out Xipe Totec, the god of agriculture. He has flayed skin because corn seeds shed a layer off as they mature, and corn itself is also a husked plant. So,
yeah.
In short, the engineer's first line in the game is an obscure reference to Aztec human sacrifice. So what would most people make of this?
Precious eagle cactus fruit. Help us.
What?
Exactly. What? What are you saying?
I'm not making fun of them, that was my reaction back then too. And sure, the Aztec themes and imagery grow stronger through the game. It may be graphically rough, but they still do interesting things with the visuals at points. If you did catch it, or looked it up later, it means the engineer's first line is about sacrifice, which is a major theme of the game. Is it going too hard too fast, using a historical reference instead of a concept? Maybe. But to be fair, you're not going to see this kind of thing in a lot of horror games now. Mandus doesn't believe the Aztecs were savages because they believed that sacrifice was the only way to save themselves from destruction. And now he wonders if maybe they just didn't kill enough.
Oswell, I think you need help.
Mandus believes doom is coming, and only he can save it with the help of his new friend and their wonderful machine. So how is it built, and what exactly does it do? It's finally time to address the man-pigs. Mandus already had employees, but for this kind of scale-up, he needed more. Well, through connections made through the power of the Orb or family, he learned about the Brennenberg compound, an elixir that can cheat death as we've seen before, so likely vitae. He even managed to acquire a corpse of one of Brennenberg's monsters, saying that he could smell the orb on it. And he also smells the work of his great-uncle on it, meaning he's...
Wait, who's your great-uncle? Is it Daniel? Or Alexandra?
Either related to Daniel or Alexander. But since they're both from London, it's probably Daniel, along with other context clues.
What? You think I speak Prussian? Do I look like an inbred hog, sir?
Prussian.
Inbred hog? This guy with pigs. Oh gosh.
Also make his list of things that are pigs, along with the rich and the poor.
Everybody is a pig.
Capitalism itself.
Except him.
Everyone.
This government. They make pigs of us all.
Major societal institutions. God.
The old god is nothing more than a lamed hog.
Say it's a pig, and you're correct.
We are the pig, Professor. We are all the pig.
He may be a crazy man, but this is to a point where it gets grating. There are
We are the pig, Professor.
Moments where the pig comparisons work wonderfully, and a lot more that just feel shoehorned in. I guess I can't say the game doesn't reflect his obsession with that. Anyway, by mixing vitae with other materials, he's created Compound X. Compound X is light sensitive and affects electricity, and has a strange connection to the other dimension. Most importantly, it's what lets Mandus fuse people and pigs. Though early failure—
What? So you use Compound X to make human beings into these man-pigs? Huh.
were caught between two dimensions or shifted back and forth. The man-pigs are a slave race that will expand, maintain, and work the machine. The machine is being built like an organism with different sections supporting or powering the others. Like a sewage line is turning wheels and sending gases and heat into different parts of the factory.
So what is the end game of all of this? Why would Oswell also commit to making these man-pigs that would maintain the factory? Like, for what purpose? What is this all for?
If it's operating, it's practically powering itself, with the man-pigs acting like the little blood cells inside of it. The process for creating man-pigs is cruel and surgical. One character says that they sneeze their teeth out, which scatters into the dark like mice. Again, the game's best horror is mainly in its writing, which can be flowery, but it does feel appropriate. The man-pigs will be part of the grand design to usher in the new world, but they're incredibly wretched creatures that are ultimately Mandus's victims.
So the factory is like a forward operating base for these man-pigs to be created, and once they've come to a critical mass, they will begin invading the city. Huh.
It's to bring down an unfair and cruel society while inflicting the same thing onto his own people. They're dumb and childlike and barely operate above their basic instincts, which is exactly what he needs to run the machine properly. They still manage to kick each other down too, which certainly has a lot going on there thematically. As for the machine, it is industrialized human sacrifice. The meat is turned to food, vitae is extracted and can make more pigmen. Every part of the human body is used. The first man-pigs are the poor or asylum inmates or other people that Mandus thought were dregs of society who would better serve the greater good.
Yet again, this notion of taking people from the street or criminals, or just down and out people, coercing them or just bringing them into this place, just like Alexandra, and then torturing them, using them, and making them into these man-pigs. Ugh.
Institutions that he thought metaphorically made people into pigs, he has made literal. He hates the church because he believes it gives a false promise to the poor that they'll have a better life after death if they're good and compliant. The charitable church that he essentially takes over is visually surrounded by the factory. He changed the iconography to revere man-pigs in the machine, and the depths of it lead directly into that conversion process. All for the ultimate goal of sacrifice.
I am the jaguar-faced man. I am the feathered serpent. This priesthood is mine.
The doom he foresaw wasn't some kind of Lovecraftian nightmare, it was just the future, and particularly World War I, where both of his sons would die in the Somme. So he killed his sons in the steps of that temple to stop it from happening in a panic, and then came back to see if he could stop the entire thing from happening at all.
Wow. You killed your own kids? And you're out here running around acting as if... Or maybe because you forgot. Yeah, probably took the amnesia potion. But yeah, this is so sad. You killed your kids, now you're looking for them, up and down this factory. Huh.
This is where things can get tricky. Most of his rants are directed against high society, the government, and institutions that would get involved in the war and ultimately cause his children to die in it. If that's the case, why does everyone need to be fed to the machine? The game could have fallen into a trap here, but the game avoids it. Because it does have the symptoms of what I'm going to call for reference, Batman film villain syndrome. Bane wants to expose corruption, and starts a kangaroo court to punish the perpetrators, but actually he really wants to blow up the city. The Riddler wants to kill the elite corrupt, especially because they helped make his childhood extremely shitty. But actually, he wants to flood the city. Mandus wants to literally eat the rich and punish the nobility for what happens in the future, but actually he wants to sacrifice the whole city. If they kept it to where Mandus was only attacking rich people, there would be endless Mandus did nothing wrong arguments. Which would at least keep the game more relevant, I guess. But instead it's him lashing out at everyone and everything in the world with strong writing to support it. Mandus believes he's a revolutionary, but his goals are incredibly self-serving, he's still exploitive while doing it, and you see these types all the time. Because he wants everyone in the machine, he has observations on all of them, and the revolution part just becomes kind of a joke to him. He talks about how it's harder to trick the poor into the machine over the rich because they're so used to abuse and trickery. but he's still catching the rich and feeding them to each other, and the caged beds are part of that contraption.
Oh, I thought those cage beds were meant for his children.
Like I said before, the factory just operating powers different parts. The beds operate off a pressure system from that dumps the rich people into the machine directly. He loves this. The movement of the masses is a casual factor in the extermination of the rich.
Wow.
This is physically what's happening. Maybe he thought a modest proposal was an instruction manual, but it is funny how crazy this all is. It seems like a machine that'll keep slaughtering and expanding endlessly, but it does have an endgame. See, the machine is alive and it's Mandus's evil side or something like that. The evil parts of himself went into the orb when he touched it, and it then instructed him on how to change the world. The engineer is the machine, and maybe it had done this before to the Aztecs. Tezcatlipoca was a god of chaos, but also divination, so in this setting, maybe they could physically see their doom. But were they being exploited by a different power? Luckily, before Mandus was fully exploited, he grabbed his dick, looked in the mirror, and called himself a hypocrite. That's what happens directly. He came to his senses, began sabotaging the machine, and then collapsed in his bed, kicking off the game. So after
Oh, I thought maybe he took like an amnesia potion or something, but okay.
he's fixed the machine, the final stretch is breaking it again as the machine unleashes man-pigs on London.
Mandus, I know you are out here. I own this city. I am this city.
No! This is not what I meant! This is not what I meant at all!
This is exactly what you meant.
If you call for gruesome, violent revolution where you live, but can't make eye contact with the delivery driver, I want you to remember this scene. The attack on London does feel apocalyptic and is a high point of the game, but it's still very linear and set-piecey. It's still hard to be in danger unless you're really trying for it. They try to add more gameplay after this by having you sabotage the machine and avoid a large monster, but there's still not much to it. Story-wise, the machine, which is the stone egg, reveals it wants to destroy another egg. It wants to reach the core of the planet and split the atom there and destroy the world in fire. It's better for mankind to just die off rather than suffer. This is the
So this orb wants to destroy Earth. That's the end game for this orb. Okay. Or the egg.
same warped logic that had Mandus kill his sons taken to the extreme. So you descend down to save the world, kill off that part of yourself, and fix your mistakes. Seems like a solid story. It is, but for how good the writing is, how it's told can be weirdly sloppy. The machine's big reveal to you in the end is that Mandus killed his children. The situation with the kids is the easiest plot thread to follow, and if you're remotely paying attention, you'll know fairly early on that Mandus killed them. So it lording this over you and taunting you for it feels very flat since you've likely known this for a while. Also, since Compound X bounces you between worlds, Mandus might teleport around during the end, and it starts getting unclear what's in his mind or real, except for the very end, which is most likely internal. There are so many strange little things brought up or areas that feel like they're missing. Like some of the streets are attached to the Whitechapel murders, and Mandus mentions that Jack the Ripper might be a man-pig. It could also be that his
I mean, to him, like we've stated before, to him everyone's a pig. Everyone and everything.
soul was truly split when his wife died in childbirth, so technically 2 sets of twins are being born. And then that's how the orb latched onto him. It's very unclear. It's interesting to put together or maybe hear the story, but it can also be all over the place, and it doesn't have a really fun or engaging game under it. Which is a shame because there's a ton I do like about the story. The fact that all the horrors Mandus saw were the creations of people. How he did vile things to try and stop it, and maybe he could have if he didn't take it so far. He saw institutions that he thought chewed people up and spat them out, and he made it actually happen. While it does take place in Victorian London and clearly has thoughts on exploitation, I don't see the machine as being a one-to-one political metaphor. Saying I'll make a system that'll fix everything and it creates new problems or makes things worse is a tale as old as time. Very different systems can step on people in similar ways. Mandus's goal of all roads will feed you to the machine was based on what he saw already. It gives me a lot to think about and consider, except ever wanting to play the game again. But I do sometimes think about the last moment playing the game. You're shutting down the machine, which looks like an Aztec temple in the fog, and the end.
It does? Well, it's fogged up, so I can't really tell or see it, but okay.
The engineer explains the horrors to come in the new century, and it's just one of the best monologues in games.
Oh, okay, no, yes, it does certainly look like a stepped pyramid. Yeah, okay.
I have stood knee-deep in mud and bone and filled my lungs with mustard gas. I have seen 2 brothers fall. I have lain with holy wars and copulated with the autumnal fallout. I have dug trenches for the refugees. I have murdered dissidents where the ground never thaws and starved the masses into faith. A child's shadow burnt into the brickwork. A house of skulls in the jungle. The innocent Manders trod and bled and gassed and starved and beaten and murdered and enslaved. This is your coming century. They will eat the Manders. They will make pigs of you all, and they will bury their snouts into your ribs, and they will eat your hearts.
There are some holes to poke there when it comes to defending the innocent, but fuck it, not topping that, we're done. We all make sacrifices, and sometimes it feels like we do rip our own hearts out sometimes. The ironic part is a game about sacrifice sacrificed so much of the game that I have no reason to come back and play it over the Dark Descent, even if the story is more interesting and layered. It could have been one of the universally great horror games, and instead it's a divisive one for very good reason. But even though I didn't like it much, you can still go play it, and not all games have that luxury.
Yeah, you can. You can. You guys can. If you guys find this interesting, go right ahead. Me, no.
If you'd like to learn more about that, especially if you owned The Crew, which Ubisoft shut down recently, and don't live in America, then visit StopKillingGames.com, which is a long shot, but at least it's something. Because I'd rather try to wiggle a little bit if I am going to fall into a processor. That's it for now. Next time there will be less pyramids, I hope. Strogification or being turned into a servitor. That's actually a hard one because they seem about equally nightmarish. I think Strogification might be more of an upfront nightmare, but the servitor's long life could definitely be worse. I scrapped a Machine for Pigs video before, so did anything change? Honestly, not a lot shifted from then. I just didn't want to bother editing the game because it looked terrible in the editor. Beyond the fact I just don't like playing it, and I really fear how this video will actually look on YouTube after compression. I'd prefer the videos to not look so awful if I can help it. Warhammer 3 plans. Not yet. Maybe when it gets farther along, but there are other reasons for that too now, which will be way funnier when they make sense, you'll see. Why am I so bald? Why am I so pig-like? Any interest in the Terminator RTS game that came out? Well, I'm very interested now because I did not know that existed. There's just so many games coming out now, it's crazy. Not as bad as last year, but man. I don't like this painting.
Okay. Alright guys, that's it with Amnesia, a machine. I'm so sorry for this noise. Yeah. Amnesia, a Machine for Pigs review made on the MandaloreGaming YouTube channel and requested by Alpha Shocker. I am not impressed with this game. They did not learn from the Dark Descent, which they should have applied all of the gaming functions and experience from Dark Descent into A Machine for Pigs. Right? A Machine for Pigs. Yes, A Machine for Pigs. They should have done that. Yeah, because the environment, or should I say the graphics, were good. They really look good, but honestly the game mechanics were just nowhere to be found. You don't really have that urgency to look for your children, to survive for your children, to make sure that these pig alien, or not alien, but hybrid human beings don't find you and kill you. Like, there isn't that sense of urgency, there isn't that sense of danger. It's not funny, or not funny. I mean, it's not scary. It's not scary, you know. Dark Descent, that was terrifying in some parts, especially with the sound bites, especially with the music, especially with the way the environment also made your character feel terrified, and you started to lose sanity. You know, those are very important core components that should have been added into a machine for pigs. They should have added that in, but for some reason they just decided not to do it. So yeah, I think that's the main thing that just made the game not really entertaining in my eyes. Yeah, it just doesn't seem as entertaining as the Dark Descent. But like the Dark Descent, you can't really defend yourself in this game. Well, not even, yeah, totally, you just can't. You can't defend yourself. All you have is your light or your lantern, and that's it. And like I've stated before, Oswald has guns. There's guns in his house. They are there, presented, beautifully cleaned, organized. He could have just taken one of those guns and started shooting at the pigs, but, I don't know. I don't know how a hunter like Oswald is not thinking that maybe I should get my guns to defend myself against these creatures. Strange. It's just strange. The storyline is also quite similar to the Dark Descent in terms of what Oswald found during his expeditions. An egg that would give him the knowledge on how to build a better, much more advanced factory, which in turn used him and his factory for its own nefarious purposes in creating these man-pigs that would one day, take over the city, take over the world, and then it would have its objective to bore down to the center of the earth and destroy the egg that's at the center of the earth. So yeah, in the beginning, Oswald thought that he found his solution, but in the end, his solution corrupted his mind, and he saw potential futures, which of course they came true in terms of World War I and World War II. But from that, he became even more insane, unstable. He started seeing everybody as pigs, even his own children, those that he loved and tried to protect. He, cast them into death, thinking that he was saving them. And yeah, it's sad. It's really sad what happened to him and what happened to his entire family. And yeah, I'm just wondering what happens now. After you destroy or stop the machine, what happens to Oswald? Does he kill himself, or does he just try to live on after what he has done and what has happened to his family? I don't think MandaloreGaming did actually explain to us what happens at the end, after you've completed shutting down the machine. Yeah, I'm not really sure about that part. But yeah, the storyline was okay. I kind of like the Dark Descent storyline more than this one. I know MandaloreGaming says that this one is a bit better than Dark Descent, but I think I like Dark Descent a bit more. I think I do. It's much more easier to follow, I think. Yeah, with a machine for pigs, not so much. I think you'll have to play it multiple times to truly understand what's going on. But yeah, it was good. I just wouldn't play the game. It's not my cup of tea. Yeah, like I've stated before, these types of games are just not my cup of tea. But yeah, guys, that's it. Remember, if you want to check out the original video as well as MandaloreGaming's YouTube channel, the links are going to be in the description below. If you like my reaction, give it a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Click on the notification bell if you want to be up to date with my latest videos. And thanks again to Alpha Shocker for the request. Thank you to MandaloreGaming for the review. It's been good. And yeah, that's it, guys. Bye-bye.